Hi there, Laura from 5 out of 4 Patterns here. I am here for day one of the Virginia Tank and Maxi Sew Along, sponsored by the Fab Clique Fabric Shop. Now, today we're doing what we always do on day one, right? We're going to assemble this paper pattern. We're going to tape it all together and cut it all out. So I'm not going to keep talking. Let's get some work done. All right, it's time to put our pattern together. If you're new to 5 out of 4 patterns, or any pattern for that matter, I'm going to show you quickly how to do it. So just follow along with me if you're new. If you're old, you can either just watch the video or you can skip it. It's up to you. Here we go. I'm just matching up the guidelines. I'm not going over the gray line. I'm just butting my page up to the gray line and giving it a good tape. Now, this pattern has a lot of pages, 53 to be exact, but the good thing is that if you go to the tutorial, we always have page or a printing guide, I guess is what it's called, and you can decide what options you're making and just print the pages for those options. For example, I'm not making the built-in bra, so I don't necessarily need pages 3 and 4. So I would go to my tutorial and I would just get the page numbers for what I need. I hope that makes sense. Now, sometimes things don't line up perfectly, but if they're a little bit off, no big deal. If they're a lot off, that's different. Now, you don't have to cut these out like in stages like I'm doing. You could do this on the floor even, and then you can do all your pages at the same time. I've certainly done that. But because I'm on this table and I have limited space, I've got to do it little by little. All right, and now there are two cutting options. There's the cut line for the dress option and the cut line for the tank. For now, I'm going to cut the cut line for the tank because I will be making both the tank and the dress, and I want to make sure I don't miss that cut line. The same goes with the neckline. There's a low scoop and there's a high scoop. I'm using the high scoop for right now. Okay, I'm going to set this to the side. I'm not done with it. I'm going to have to add to this below here, you can see, but I'll come back to it when I come across those pieces. Now, one of the other cool things about the Virginia Tank and Maxi is you can choose to make the skirt with either woven or knit fabric. So there's a different cut line for both of them, for woven or knit, and you'll just pick the appropriate one. So pages 31 and 32 connect with pages 39 and 40 to make our waistband. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. And so we can look at like what all these different lines mean. Here it says, for a folded over band that equals 3 inches when folded, cut the entire height. All right. For a smooth band that doesn't fold over, cut just the bottom half. All right. Now it says here, cut on this line for the dress with a waistband option. All right. So you've got these different cutting things, cutting lines. There we go. I'm going to cut the whole thing because, you know, we may do a couple different things here, and I want to make sure I have what I need. All right, now we can continue to work on our skirt pieces. We are almost there. Okay, we are finally finishing up. I'm on the last page and we can cut out our skirt and we'll be ready to go. All right, first things we need to look at as we're looking at the skirt piece. We've already talked about there's a fold or a cut line for the knit skirt. And there's a cut line for the woven skirt. You just have to decide based on your fabric what you need. I'm doing knit on all of mine. I have done a fabric skirt, and it's great. I've used rayon challis, things like that just have nice amount of drape and flow. They're lovely. So you can do that if you've chosen a woven, all right? I've chosen knit, so I'm gonna cut on this line, okay? Now, there are a couple other lines too that we need to take into account. Let's look at the top. This is the top of the waistband here, and it says the top line, cut line for a dress with casing or the skirt with casing, all right? The second line is cut for dress with waistband or skirt with waistband. I'm going to cut at the top line because I am going to be cutting, making one with casing. I'm also going to make one with a waistband, so I'm going to end up cutting both of those. But I know I need that top line. All right, so I'm going to cut at the top. Now we've got some length measurements here. There are two. There's a knee length and there's a maxi length. Now it tells you how long it is from the waist. So this is 19.75 inches. This is 37.75 inches from the waist. I know me, and I am short, so I know I'm going to have to use this lengthen or shorten line here, this right here. I'm going to have to use that in order to get my length correct for my maxi. I don't generally have to worry about it for knee length stuff, but for the maxi I do. So one more thing to point out is right here. If you're putting pockets in your dress, these are the pocket markings. So as I'm cutting it out, when I get to these, I'm going to cut out a notch around those. And so when I'm cutting out my fabric, I'll cut out that notch as well. If you don't cut out the notch, make sure you mark it in some way on your fabric so you know exactly where your pocket lines up. All right, let's get to cutting. All right, we've got our pattern completely cut out. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna make any of your normal adjustments. So if you need to shorten the bodice or lengthen the bodice based on your height situation, or you need to work on the shoulders, whatever, or in my case, the length of the skirt, now is the time to do that before we start cutting our fabrics. Here is the beautiful fabric that I'm using. Is it not just so gorgeous? Oh my gosh, I can't hardly take it. It's so beautiful. So I'm going to be making the dress out of this. I can't get enough how gorgeous it is. I'm going to make a knee-length dress out of this with the white background. I'll also make a tank out of one of them. I don't know which one, but definitely a knee-length dress out of this. And I will be making, at minimum, a maxi skirt out of the black background. I can't tell you how beautiful this is. It feels amazing. It gives me all the feels. I love it so much. So let's start cutting our skirt. So let's get our fabric ready. All right, so I'm pushing folding this down because I don't want to do it on the casing line. Hope that makes sense. All right, now I need to cut out my, whatever this thing's called, pocket. And next will be the waistband itself, which will go further down. So let's do this first. So I need to cut a total of 4 of these. So there's 2, and let's move this down, and we'll do the other 2. Now there is a diagram in the tutorial for how to place your pattern pieces on your fabric. I just don't often use that. I just do my own thing and fit things how I want to fit them. So that's why you see me doing it this way. But by all means, if you need to use a tutorial, go right ahead and do that. All right, our pockets are cut out. Let me set those to the side. We have decisions to make. I want to decide whether I'm doing a smooth band that doesn't fold over or a band that does fold over. I think I'm going to go with the one that doesn't fold over. So I'm going to fold this on that line. All right. All right, and it says that I need to cut 2 of these. All right, so now we've already decided that's not going to work. So I need to move my fabric down a little bit more and save those scraps. You never know what you're going to need them for. This fabric is too beautiful to just toss the leftovers. All right, here we go. Pay attention to the stretch, where the stretch is supposed to be, and line it up according to that. All right, we have everything cut out for our skirt. All right, so we will set all those things to the side. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to make a tank top, and I'm actually going to make a tank, just a plain tank, out of this fabric as well. So I'm going to pull this. I should have enough of it for a tank. Okay, so we've got our front and our back bodice. I like the high scoop for both, but you can do a high scoop in the front, a low scoop in the back, low scoop in the high scoop in the back, low scoop in the front, both low scoop, both high scoop. I'm gonna do, gosh, I don't know. I'll do a high scoop or a low scoop in the front and a high scoop in the back. Okay, so these should be on the fold. So I'm going to turn this way so it's on the fold. Oh goodness. Make sure our fabric is the way we want it and it fits. I'm making a size extra large, so this actually fits on here pretty perfectly. I'm going to bring it over just a tad. Let's cut these out, and then we'll need to get bands for our neckline and our underarm and shoulder. So on page 16, you're going to see all these extra measurements. You have low front with back front neckline, low front with high back neckline, high front with high back neckline, high front with low back neckline, and the tank arms. I'm doing the low front with the high back neckline. So I need to cut 1 piece of fabric, 1.5 inches by, I need to find my size, 29.25 inches. I need 1 of those. The tank arms you need to cut 2 of, and I need 1.5 by 19.75. Okay, so I've got my armbands 2 of those. Make sure you reference page 16 on your tutorial and my neckband. And I am ready to move on to the next thing. Now I'm going to be cutting out my fabric for a dress. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the front and back bodices. And because I'm making a dress, I need to fix, recut on the proper cut line. So this is the full length tank option. I'm making the dress option, so I need to cut here. This is the back bodice. I'm going to change it a little bit, and I'll do a low scoop on the back bodice and a low scoop on the front bodice. Okay, now let's grab our skirt piece, and we'll need to adjust that as well. All right, I'm going to take my tape to where I taped this to shorten it. I'm going to take it off. Since this is going to be used with a casing, I've got my casing line here. All right, let's get our fabric. All right, let's cut out, and then the next skirt, because we need a second skirt piece, it will go right here. All right, so let's cut out these pieces, and then we can move on to the next. I'm not gonna put pockets in this one because we're putting pockets in the other one, so I'm just going to cut through those markings, all right? I just wanna make sure that all my fabric is smooth. Okay, so we've got our front and our back and one skirt panel. So let's get these moved to the side. Oops. And now let's cut another skirt. All right, now all I have left to do is to refer to page 16 and get my bands cut out. So here we are. The only thing I have left to do is to cut out a dress with the waistband option. So here we are, we've got I'm getting my other dress together. This is the waistband for the dress. And because it's just a rectangle, I'm gonna fold it in half. These are just little things that we do to make things easier, like this. And then I'm gonna put it on the fold over there. So when I open it up, after I cut it, it's going to be the perfect length. So when I've cut it, folded the pattern piece in half and then cut it on the fold, you can see it's the exact size that I needed. All right, that's just a little shortcut if you just to make things easier on yourself. Okay, now the only thing left for us to do is to cut out our bands. I'm actually going to use my other bands that I've already cut out as a kind of a template, as a pattern piece. But if you don't have multiple to make like I do, you're just going to use the cut chart that corresponds with your options on page 16. Notice I'm cutting these on the fold. There we are. Now we are officially ready for day 2.